In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly
and Andrew Fiore.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your
Hello and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. This is one of your hosts, Andrew Fiore. I am joined, as always, by my friend and very funny comedian, co-host Sean Donnelly.
Hello there, Andrew Fiore.
Hey, buddy.
Great to see you, my friend.
I know.
We took a week off because of, that was my fault. I was not feeling well. I couldn't record last week, so my apologies. Andrew is nothing but professional. I am the one who chickened out on a week of taping, so my apologies if it set you back. Listen to the old podcast.
That's all right. We replayed a fun one. It was with Greg, and I forgot how much of a hijinks prankster he is.
Oh, it was so frustrating. He's so freaking frustrating.
I got caught up listening to my own podcast, and it was so funny when he asked me, he's like, "Can I just take a sip of your water?" And he drank my whole water.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Which is such a hilarious...
He's like fucking 8. He's like, he's a giant Italian 8-year-old.
It sent him into hysterics.
Yeah, he thought it was the funniest thing in the world. Yeah. Such a silly goose, that man.
We are back this week, and it's great. I missed you, man. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. We've been on the road, and we couldn't tape, obviously, as we mentioned last week. So it's been a while.
It's been a while. I missed you, too. Should we tell people, should we make the announcement of where we're going to probably tape an episode next week?
That is a great idea.
We are both doing the same road gig in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las Vegas, Nevada. Shoni and I. Oh yeah.
We'll be at the Comedy Cellar in Las Vegas, and we're going to tape an episode out there. I think it's going to be Las Vegas themed episode.
I think that would be,
and that would be the most fitting. So take a listen to that. But we're going to spend a whole week together. We'll probably have tons of stories of hijinks and maybe a couple of Chardonnays involved.
Maybe we'll do a few. Maybe we'll knock out a bunch because we got some other funny comedians there with us. So maybe we can have some guests. And
that's a good point.
We'll see what happens.
We should tape a couple of them.
At least one that'll be definitely Las Vegas themed since we'll both be out in the desert. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. If you guys are in the area, please come and hang and tell us you're a defender. We'll do some gambling and some drinking.
Yeah.
And us two will try and stay out of the sun as much as possible.
You are a very fair-skinned Italian man. I'm very fair. But I'm super Irish. But you're fairly fair for an Italian.
I mean, yeah. I have the complexion of a urinal.
Just a standard on your forehead.
Dinner plate. I know nobody believes I'm Italian.
But Northern Italians are fair-skinned and fair-haired.
Yep, and then I'm literally the other half is Irish. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
exactly. That's why. So it makes sense.
But so stay tuned for that. That'll be fun. But we've got a real fun one that I've been looking forward to. I was so amped and ready to go last week.
I know. That's why I apologize.
So I'm even doubly excited this week. But
so before we do you want to talk about the movies you saw or no?
Yeah, I was on the road this last weekend, so I knocked out a few movies. I watched a documentary on Netflix. I don't know if you've ever seen it or heard of it. It's called Jack of All Trades.
No. Is this the baseball card one?
Yes.
I've heard about this.
I was on the train going to my gig, and I just was flipping around Netflix, and I saw it because it checked off all the boxes for me in terms of the guy was the same age as me. I was a tremendous baseball card / hockey card collector.
Were you really?
And I still have them. A large part of the film is based around the 1989 Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck card.
I remember that.
Which I have the box set still in its original wrapping.
Wow.
Not even unopened. And part of it was just a fun, nostalgic thing to go back to, joined with how useless all that's worth now. Is it
just down to zero?
Zero, because they just
started printing them.
They printed so many, it killed the market. They flooded the market with this.
So for people who don't know, the big thing was there was this Ken Griffey rookie card. That was
89. 90, 91. I mean, the market for baseball cards and baseball collectibles and all that stuff was through the roof.
It was insane.
It was like the boom.
And it was one of those things where, like, the baseball card phenomenon, it wasn't our generation that started it. It was, like, our dad's generation that started it. Like, even back then, the cards from back then, but if you think about it, the reason the cards from back then were so valuable is because there wasn't that many of them left.
Exactly. That's the main point, is that because the market was created out of demand for a rare commodity.
Yes.
So
everybody starts saving.
Exactly. So people thought, well, this is going to happen again, but we're going to be smart about it this time. I'll hold on to these cards for 30 plus years. 30 years later, there's still a million other of copies of those cards out there.
Right.
So there's no market for it whatsoever.
And I feel like that time period, like people try to do it with everything. Because my mom bought, remember Michael Ian Black, the voice of the Pets.com puppet, the dog, whatever it was, like a dog
Vaguely.
or something. It was him doing it, like interviewing people like man on the street. And my mom bought the stuffed animal of it, and she was like, "This is going to be worth a lot of money." And I remember being like, really? And I remember, like...
That's your mom's 401k?
I remember, yeah. I remember the package breaking and me being like, oh, now it's not worth anything.
Oh, really?
And it's just not worth anything. It's not worth anything.
I mean, but I totally bought in. I was a perfect age. 1989, 90. I was 11, 12 years old. It was my life.
Yeah.
Cards were my life.
Yeah. I bought a bunch of baseball cards back in the day.
I had so many cards. I had baseball, hockey. I have
Don Russ. They had Tops.
Don Russ.
Upper Deck.
Tops. Upper Deck came along. It's funny how they just get in. They go, Upper Deck wasn't anything special. They just kind of marketed themselves that way, and people bought into it.
You know what it was? Wasn't that the one with like the not translucent, but the hologram border?
Yep.
And the little diamond. They had a little diamond on the back, like a hologram diamond. It was a fancier card.
Yeah.
They probably cost, to be honest, they probably cost like 50 more cents to print, like or whatever it was.
Well, they get
printing.
into that a lot. They have
really?
The guy who designed the Ken Griffey Jr. card, and he goes, I'm not saying what we did was illegal, but it was definitely not ethical. Like the way they kind of purported themselves to have X amount of Ken Griffey Jr. cards on the market, the ratio of how many they actually printed was so many more to what the collectors thought were out there.
Wow.
So that's why,
they lied.
Yeah, he goes, we were printing money. He goes, by us printing those sheets of Ken Griffey Jr., we were printing money, essentially.
Because they were selling them. Wow.
Yeah, because they didn't let on. So basically, it probably was illegal, but I don't think anybody was regulating.
I don't think it is illegal because all they're doing is printing the cards.
Yeah.
Unless it's a thing where it's like when stocks they have a thing called misleading the shareholders, where you I think.
But there's really nothing like
stock,
that. There's nothing policing that. So it was,
but nothing policing. There's no SCC.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
cards.
He had a good word choice. He was like, it's not illegal. It's probably not ethical.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that is a thing where it's like misrepresenting the value of a stock.
Yeah,
it's like you can go to jail for it.
Absolutely.
Or something. Yeah. That's crazy. But I heard that like my roommate saw it. Robert Dean, very funny comic. He saw it. He told me about it, and he said it becomes a totally different movie right in the middle.
It becomes about this guy who is the son of the major. Basically the king of collecting cards and all that stuff in
But he had
Canada.
a memorabilia shop, right?
He had a memorabilia shop. It was like the most popular one in Toronto. And essentially, after he sold the shop, he just left his wife and kids. And so you see, spoiler alert, whatever, them reuniting like 30 years later. Because he's doing this documentary about the collectibles and the baseball cards. So it's kind of it's very interesting. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but it was good. It was like, it caught me because I was one of those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I hear you. And I would check it out for that reason because I was the same way. I was like, I was buying packs of I remember buying packs of
my life, dude,
of movie cards. Like they had when Batman came out, they had Batman cards.
Yeah,
they had Howard the Duck cards.
I know.
I remember me and my sister, we were at like a family party once, and down the block from where they were,
Garbage Pail Kids.
The Garbage Pail Kids was huge. But down the block from the party, there was this stationery store that had a bunch of these boxes of cards, and we just kept getting money and going back to buying more packs of these useless cards.
I can think of 4 shops in my town alone
that had them.
Of collectors. Fat Moose, Comics and Games. It just,
Yeah, we had one place called Rare Coins. That's the place that when I was older, we played Mortal Kombat 2 at. They had the arcade version of Mortal Kombat 2. But they were known for Rare Coins and collectibles, so they had all the baseball card stuff.
Yeah.
And whatever it was. And I think it was a place closer to my house that had a bunch of collectibles. I just can't think of it, but it was like an industry.
I had every Gary Carter card up until like 1993.
So what's
I had
the
everyone.
industry that survives? The autograph memorabilia? That's
I don't
what
know.
survives, I don't
know.
They still have that. They have that in malls
Maybe.
sometimes.
Yeah. Maybe autographs.
Because if baseball cards are dead, because it's funny.
Autograph is rare because if it's real, it's authentic, that's a definite thing that could be worth something because of how rare that is. You know, there's not 1 million Angelina Jolie autographs out there to flood the market.
Right.
You know, it's probably still a pretty rare commodity. So I can see that. I can see autographs being...
That's what I mean. But some people sign a lot. Because I remember I'll watch like Pawn Stars, and they'll always talk about who signs a lot, who doesn't.
It has to
and
be.
Apparently Paul McCartney doesn't sign that much.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard. I think Paul McCartney.
Smart.
John Lennon either. There's barely any John Lennons.
Huh.
I'm kidding. He's dead.
Well, I thought maybe at the time.
At the time, yeah. I'm just fucking around.
So, yeah, I haven't seen one in a while.
Yeah, and they haven't popped up in a long time. But the point being that, that the only reason that the autograph stuff is popular is because of demand. And you're right.
Yeah.
If the people who sign, they probably, some of them are aware of it and they want to keep the value of their autograph up.
Totally.
So they just don't sign a lot of stuff. But then you have other people that you'll see, they'll be like the Civic Center, the guy who played, the son on Alf or something, and then he'll be signing, but he'll charge people $10 a pop. But that's not worth shit because there's 1 million of that out there.
Dude, it was hard. I opened up for Jake the Snake Roberts one time, and he stayed around and talked to every single audience member after the show, but was selling autographs like 8x10s. It was really hard to watch.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
He was like my favorite wrestler.
I know, me too. And then I was leaving the club and I just see him like walk to his Toyota and just like open the trunk and but it's just it was heartbreaking.
Those guys got so fucked over.
I know.
Well, he also, I saw Beyond the Mat thing. He's also a crackhead.
An excellent documentary.
It's great.
Also, by the way.
Watch Beyond the Mat if you haven't. What's your favorite? We should do a documentary one. Defend Your Documentary.
Oh, that's a great one. Defend Your Doc.
Defend Your Doc.
I was going to ask you, do you have any famous autographs? I have a couple really good ones.
Do I have any famous autographs? No, none that I think I capped. I don't.
I have a lot of athlete ones.
What do you really?
I have a Phil Rizzuto.
Oh, really?
I have Phil
Rizzuto. There it is.
I have Carl Banks. I have Darryl Strawberry on a baseball. I met him.
Darryl Strawberry in a baseball?
I met him at the King Supermarket in Morristown, New Jersey when I was 8 years old.
And did your mom bully her way to the front line?
No, Ben Murphy's mom did. She didn't bully her way. She just kind of told us to cut, and we just did. And nobody said peep to the two little 8-year-old kids. There's a picture of my mom has the picture of me and Ben at the front of the line.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and then my best one is my mom gave to me from her dad gave to my dad. Her grandfather. My maternal grandfather, her dad, was a huge Yankees fan. So also, I got my Phil Rizzuto one. He saw Phil Rizzuto in an Italian restaurant at the Jersey Shore, went up to him and asked for his grandson. It's on a restaurant receipt check.
Oh, that's funny.
And it says, to Andy, holy cow, Phil Rizzuto.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's great. And
wait, is it framed now?
I have it. My mom has it somewhere. But the other big one is that Joe DiMaggio had a restaurant in San Francisco where he's from. Is the Joe DiMaggio restaurant, and my mom has a menu with Joe D's signature on it that she's like, this is going to be yours.
Wow.
Yeah, she showed it to me like a couple times.
That's pretty crazy.
And yeah, so she's like, I'll hold on to it though.
My dad, I had a Michael Jackson book when I was a kid, and I think my dad faked a Michael Jackson signature in the book. And he gave it to me with Michael Jackson.
Maybe not.
No. Let's be honest. That went down in value a long time ago.
Actually, that might be worth something. But
yeah,
fun nostalgia watch.
You gotta check it out. Check out they have a ton of documentaries on.
Yeah.
But even HBO had I started watching. I watched that Big Hack one. I already talked about that.
Didn't see that.
You didn't see it?
No.
It's pretty scary. It's like this girl in it. There's one. All right, so it's about Cambridge Analytica, which is the company that gave the data to Ted Cruz's campaign and Trump's campaign. But the woman who was kind of like their middleman, like in the company, was very, very smart at online data farming and basically the algorithm and stuff. It'd be like the social media just guru. The way she started out was she worked for the Obama campaign and helped Obama win. And then they hired her this company, and she drank the Kool-Aid with this guy who ran Cambridge Analytica. Cambridge Analytica's parent, I learned this from the doc. Their parent company is a military company. It's like it's not Lockheed Martin. It's its own thing. It's like CSI or something. Or CS something. But it comes from all military-based stuff, and this was like a subsidiary of them, and it was a private company, but a subsidiary of a military company.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
So that's why all this stuff, they don't just do it here, they do it all over the world.
Oh, I know. Yeah, all the tentacles of the...
But then they went out of business. They went bankrupt because of what happened.
Right.
Because this guy, like, I don't know if he ended up going to jail, the CEO, and the guy was just, when you realize as you're watching it, like, you're like, oh, when you're watching it, you're like, I don't think he knew what was going on. He probably believed his own hype, and he thought like, hey, we're just in the future here, and this is what we can do online. But I don't think he knew the ramifications of what it meant for the future.
Right.
So one of the facts to scare you in the movie, what they say early on in the movie, is that right now we all have, if you use the internet the normal amount, email, all that, you have 5,000 markers that identify you to these hackers or these trolls or whatever.
Oh boy,
5,000. Your people our age, their kids, when they're grown up, will have
good. I kind of need a pop on the road.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, it doesn't translate to Instagram followers. It translates to empty bank accounts. So, and then our kids would be 75,000 markers.
Yeah, wow.
75,000 ways to identify you. Either, I think it's different ways. I think it's like actually literal type stuff where it's like your name, your address, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But also like, are you on the fence about voting? What do you like to shop? What do you, like, you like boots. You love boots. Like stuff like that.
I believe it, man.
I think it's these personality markers that form the person. You know, just a digital version of you.
Yeah.
You know? But you don't realize you're doing it because you're paying for stuff with your cards.
Yep.
It's electronically going on your digital footprint, and it's carrying you around everywhere.
Yeah,
and if somebody's smart enough, they're forming you as a person and being like, we can get him to vote our way if we start flooding him. So that's what they were doing. They were flooding. All they cared about, they could mark everybody in the country 5,000 ways. All they cared about was marking the undecideds. That's what they wanted. I think they called them that even. The undecided, whatever, something similar to that. And that's what they wanted to be like, we're going to fucking, almost like Clockwork Orange. Your eyes are open on your monitors. And we're just going to, hold them open and show you, anti-Muslim things, anti-this, anti-that. Or if it's, if you're working for somebody else, we'll show you the opposite of what they, whatever works. So it's interesting. It's worth checking out. Yeah.
I will check it out.
Yeah.
And then I just watched, I watched Long Shot and Us. I made some catch up.
How was Long Shot?
Long Shot was Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron, and it was fine. It was pretty funny.
I feel like it was, if this was 10 years ago, it would have been Katherine Heigl in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like after Knocked Up.
But you kind of realize how I really have always enjoyed Charlize Theron's body of work.
She's awesome.
She's great.
Yeah.
I remember her like really having a great Saturday Night Live hosting episode. I was like, oh, she really put herself into it and let herself like get made fun of. So that always goes a long way with me. When you're able to like make fun of yourself and you really throw yourself into that role.
Absolutely.
I remember she did like a Mr. Peepers thing where she like really got into it and they were like eating food out of each other's mouths. I was like, oh, she went for it. And she's this beautiful woman who is not afraid to like let her guard down.
She is like beyond beautiful. Apparently, when she first got discovered, she was like,
oh yeah. I mean, she's still
she's unbelievable.
And then what is the young adult? Is that the one with Patton Oswalt? Like she's done some really cool like indie stuff. And so
she's like an actress.
Yeah, and she's great. You don't necessarily believe that they would get involved as romantically as they do. You're like, that's kind of a mismatch between Seth Rogen and
so Charlize
you believe
Theron. It more in Knocked Up than you do in.
She is a secretary. She's Secretary of State.
Yeah,
and she is making a bid to run for the presidency. And she remembers that she used to babysit for Seth Rogen. They randomly meet at like some fundraiser. He's like this just recently fired stoner, guerrilla journalist who's really, leftist, whatever, but has written some decent things that she likes. She hires him as a speechwriter. The love story flourishes from there, and they have the ups and downs.
So it goes your normal.
It's a pretty formulaic movie. but I enjoyed it. It was a Sunday afternoon on the road watch.
Yeah.
And it was fine. I enjoyed it.
And how about Us? Us, I heard is terrible.
I didn't love Get Out, which I know that makes me a terrible person.
No, not at all. But I did love Get Out.
But I liked Us a little bit better as a horror movie than Get Out.
Really?
Yeah, I liked it as a horror movie better.
But I heard...
It was scarier. I didn't think Get Out was scary.
I think people were afraid not to like Us.
I think
that
so.
happens.
I think 100%.
I think they didn't want to, because of how the reception of Get Out, I think they didn't want to admit, like,
right.
sophomore jinx, this guy, he just didn't make a great
It was fine. It was a little muddy and convoluted.
I heard there's a lot of holes in it.
I had to look up some stuff afterwards and be like, oh, right. If I didn't look that up, that would have gone way over my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was fine. I don't know. I don't see what the big deal about his movies are. I love Key and Peele. I love Key and Peele as a sketch show. But I think he's just a little overhyped for me.
Get Out,
I didn't love Get Out. I thought it was okay. It was a slow bit. He's got a slow burn to his movies, too.
He does. But Get Out, it works perfectly, I think. And the tension.
Maybe I'll watch it again.
The build-up of the tension. I think it's funny. I think they do... the white people, like the way the white people act around black people thing, I think it's done super funny and super accurate. Yeah. Like... You know how like they have sketches where white people are like over the top, being weirdly
like if
racist?
I would vote for Obama a third time if I could, you know, like making a point to see.
But it's very subtle. It's like more subtle than that, but it's so apparent when you're watching it. Like there's the beats they have.
Yeah.
In Get Out.
I respect.
Oh, you're right. He does say that. I'll vote for Obama. You're right. He does say that. Yeah.
I respect Jordan Peele though. Like he's a historian. Like he knows his stuff. He knows his movies, and you can tell. You can see references. You can see nods. You can see throwbacks.
Is that in Us? They have it.
In Us, I noticed a few. I noticed the Jaws. I noticed The Shining. There's got some cool Easter eggs. I guess you could like. There was a copy of Chud on the shelf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers.
Yeah,
which was fun. And so I appreciate. And he's a big horror. He's a student of horror. You know, I was watching The Business of Horror, that Eli Roth miniseries, I guess, and he was on it a lot speaking to
it.
Really? It was great. So yeah, it's like, you know, I'm a horror guy, so I like that stuff, especially from people who really know that side of the movie making.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know what it is? That's why I like Get Out so much, because you know me, I'm not a horror guy.
I know.
And Get Out was like more thrillerish, and it was creepy, and it was like it was really entertaining.
Us is I don't know. I liked it.
All right, let's go to the old what?
That's old-timey AM radio right there.
You want to go to the meats and the potatoes?
Let's go to the meats and potatoes. Oh, unless you want to tackle this one, we had a write-in from the Twitter, from the Defend Your Movie, at Defend Your Movie. MCC Marthy, so Mick K. Marthy. Right, and Matt is your name. Thank you for listening, Matt, and we appreciate you reaching out. If you guys ever have anything like this you want to address to the Twitter, we'll go through them and try and take one of the best ones and address it on the show.
Absolutely.
So Matt writes, Gary Oldman is a terrible actor. Agree or disagree?
Oh, false.
I disagree.
I disagree. I 100%, but he didn't give any examples, right?
I understand where he's coming from, though. That makes sense to me. I disagree with it.
Is he saying as Commissioner Gordon? Because he's
just a terrible actor across the board. He gave no other details.
No, I don't think that's true. I think that... tell me why. I don't... I'm trying to think of examples.
The only thing I can think of is maybe True Romance, where he's overdoing it, but I think that's what that character is meant to be.
Howard's supposed to be a fucking cornball.
Right.
He's supposed to be a delusional guy who's a white dude who thinks he's a black dude.
Do you know how hard that is to do, too?
Yeah.
Like, if you have to do that.
We're in dreads and
I mean, come on, dude. Commissioner Gordon, he's so fucking...
Commissioner Gordon...
He won the Oscar for Winston Churchill, I think, in The Darkest Hour.
Yeah, I think he did. And I think you could say... Commissioner Gordon, you could say, is maybe a little bit melodramatic, but it's a comic book movie. He's playing the role.
Of course. But I thought he was good in it.
I'm trying to think what... So I disagree wholeheartedly, but I can be convinced of stuff sometimes.
I get it. Like, I understand where he may be coming from. And I don't know if that's his actual sentiment, but...
He's great. The Professional is great.
Oh,
he's a great badass villain. Like,
he's great.
Cop. He's a cop.
Closed.
He's a cop. He's a crooked cop. He's like, no, hear me out. He's a cop. He's a crooked cop. Godfather. Pretty good impression. I'm telling people out there that know what I'm doing.
Crooked cop.
He got his jaw wired shut.
They might just like a story like that. They just might.
Don't we have, now, Tom, don't we have people on newspapers that might like a story like that?
They just might.
He's a cop. He's a crooked cop. Did I say on the podcast what my new favorite line in the movie is?
Oh, I'd love to hear this.
I think I told you this. Well, it actually fits into the meat and potatoes. So when we get to that movie, I'll say what my favorite line, one of my new favorite, like underestimated.
Oh, I can't wait. You know I love a deep cut.
Yeah. I love it, and it's by a great actor who we'll talk about.
All right.
I don't think I brought it up on the show yet, but it involves one of the movies that. It's in my top 2 of.
I'm so excited.
Now we're on to the meat and potatoes. Let's put it that way.
I'm so excited. So this week we decided to go off the rails a little bit and discuss. We're going to defend your opening. We're going to defend our favorite opening scenes. We didn't put a cap on it. I have like 13 or 14 here that I wrote down. And as I was going through my list, I go, oh, it's really hard to narrow it down. So I didn't do it in any order.
No, you don't have to narrow it down. I didn't even do it in order either. I just jotted down as I thought of them.
Exactly.
And we can just go down our list and we can see what would you like to do? Do you want to go see which ones we have in common first? Or do you want to just go one for one and go back and forth?
I think one for one.
One for one.
Because inevitably we'll have some that we both agree on.
And you're so excited about this. I would like you to start off, my friend.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with one of my favorite scenes in my favorite movie of all time. It's the opening of Jaws. It's the bonfire. It's Chrissy Watkins. It's the first time you hear that music. It's at night. It's the thrashing. It's scary as hell.
It's super
and
scary.
And it's just the first time you hear it, if you can place yourself, I know we've all seen it a billion times now, so it's hard to not get jaded by hearing that music now, but you remember the first time you heard it, it just creeps in. Just the first time you go, ooh, shudders.
Also, I'll tell you this. Wonderfully dark night shot scene.
Perfect.
You can
Beautiful.
make out everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? How many times in movies they shoot at night or they shoot dark scenes and you can't make things out or it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
You know, they'll have like Navy SEALs coming up to a thing. Like, and it's just like, this is a mishmash of shadows.
It's so great.
And that, you can definitely, everything's clear cut. Especially when she's getting pulled around. You know exactly what's going on.
You don't see Bruce yet, you know?
Yeah, but it gives you an idea of what the movie is without even with starting off.
Yeah.
And it's also, there's a point where in it's terrifying because even that point where she's breathing heavy.
It's terrifying.
It's a really great opening scene.
The first time you just dip, there's just, when she just gets tugged down.
Yeah,
you're just like, what the hell's going on? So that just seemed like a layup for me because I love it so much.
Absolutely. I started off with a light one. I think this is. I was trying to mix it up. I'm like, what comedies also have great opening scenes?
I was trying to think of that too.
Tommy Boy.
Ooh,
great opening. He's late for the class and he's running through the thing.
Great one.
Gives you a great precursor what the movie's about. It's great physical comedy. It's
great and a great.
The first showing of Holy Shnikes or whatever it is.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
And a great time jump too.
Yes.
Really perfectly done.
Yes, absolutely. Because it juxtaposes him as a kid and him as an
really good one.
Good pick, right?
I was trying to think. It's almost all mine are dramatic, but I was really trying to think. That's a great one.
It's a great opening scene because it's funny and it's like
Shut Up, Richard.
It's like exactly yes, and it's the perfect opening credits thing because you have an action shot of him running as a kid and adult, and while the opening credits are going, so it's like a mindless opening scene, but it also gives you an idea of the whole movie. They kind of spell out the whole movie in that opening. Not that they spelled the whole movie, but you know what I'm saying. Like it gives you an idea of who that dude is. Like absolutely. You're like, if you don't know who Chris Farley was, you know who he is by the time he smacked his head.
Really
50 times.
Good pick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with this one's another. I basically thought of all my favorite movies, and then I was like, yeah, they all have great openings. So
yeah, well, a lot of classics have.
Where my current list of top 10, movies is at number 2. My second favorite movie of all time is Cool Hand Luke, and I don't know if you're exactly familiar with it.
I'm not familiar with the opening.
It starts with a parking meter close up, and the violation pops up. It's a red tag. It's violation. Yeah, and it's Luke using that big wrench to cut the heads off the parking meters, and it cuts up violation, and then you see him kind of walking in, going in a 360 circle and cutting another one off, and the violation pops up again, which I think is really cool just because what he's doing is just kind of setting up the metaphor of Luke as just like a loser, as like it just can't win. He can't win. It's violation after violation after violation. That's his whole life.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And it's just, and then I love how it just ends on the him. He's leaning back on one of the parking meters. The cop comes up, and it's just what are you doing? Just cutting the heads off parking meters, and then it just flashes that Paul Newman smile where you're like, you can be the staunchest heterosexual man on earth, but if that smile doesn't get, it is just that, and they address it with that old Luke smile, and then that that like beautiful acoustic guitar score kicks in, and just kicks off the movie. I just love it. I love it so much.
Yeah. No, that's a really good one. I've only seen that movie once, so I always forget that.
Oh, dude, I have to watch it again. Really great 1960s movie making.
My next one. Oh, I have one that I have to add to this.
Add it.
I'm adding it now. My next one, and this is one of my biggies. This is like one of my. This is one of the reasons that I wanted to do this episode. That I'm. My two favorites are back to back on my picks. The next two picks.
So going with the heavy hitters already.
What's up?
You're going with the heavy hitters already?
Well, yeah, because that's what came up as I was jotting them down. I can go back to that if you want. Should I go back to it?
It's your call. Because
here's a biggie that has a great one. It's not the best opening scene, but it's great. I'll skip and go back to the other ones. Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Great opening scene. Because it's like once again, starting with a hint of what you're in store for. You have no idea what's going on. They're in the car. They hear the thump, and then just they open it up, and then it's just this mess of this bloody Billy Bats and die now. And then they stab him, and then they shoot him in the trunk. And the slow mo of the muzzle going off on the gun. So it basically is like, Jesus, right away there's just complete, utter, sick violence right away. And you don't know that's going to be, like, usually you ease into that. And they're like, nope, right away these guys, like, they're in the middle of something fucked up.
That is in my honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions, okay.
I wrote 4 honorable mentions down. That is one of them.
It's part of the list for me. What's your next pick?
My next one, I'm going to save some of my bigger ones toward the end. This one is, I think, a little off the board. I love the opening of Scream. The Drew Barrymore. How great of an opening is that?
Because that's it. That's her only.
That's her.
Remember, also, I think that nobody knew that was her only involvement in the movie, right?
Of course, no, not until you saw the whole thing.
Right. So that's there, but they advertised her in the movie.
Oh, right.
So it's actually a great thing. I think it's a great trick they pull on audiences.
Great trick. Meta in the fact that they're spoofing themselves. It's Wes Craven, and I love that they even have that own joke where it's like, "What's your favorite scary movie?" And she's like, "Nightmare on Elm Street." The first one was great. The next 3 sucked. It's movies though, but it does. They go through all the tropes and the stereotypes of all the ways a character evolves or devolves or whatever happens in typical horror slasher films.
Yeah,
and then just the way of like him luring her out, it was just, and then the boyfriend you see, it's a great.
The boyfriend's like disemboweled in the thing.
Yeah,
right?
he's out on the porch, and she's like, "I'm calling my boyfriend. He's a big scary football player type." He's like, "Turn on the porch light," and then and then her parents come home, but she's already got like her throat crushed, and so she can't speak.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Mom, Dad," but it's a great like.
It's fucked up.
But and then say what you want about Scream, it's kind of hasn't aged well, but like back at the time, it was a great horror. It was like a great resurgence for that kind of slasher movie.
Yeah,
and it was like a great fun take on it.
It was like the beginning of all those like Dimension films, like those Dimension horror films.
Yeah.
The Miramax's sister company films. So that it was supposed to be campy. It was supposed to be bringing back that.
Like I say, just giving like a new birth to that kind of style.
Yeah. That's a great opening scene. Scream's great.
Yeah.
Scream's good because just if you say that you have somebody like Drew Barrymore and you kill her off in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
I know.
It's nuts, or whatever that is, 10 minutes. All right. I also have. I didn't say my other one. I'm sorry, I didn't go to this other one.
All right.
There Will Be Blood.
Yep.
And the reason for this, for me, is, and we've talked about it on the show before, and the most impressive part about this, it's not because of an action, it's not because of the violence, it's because you are all they're pulling oil out of the well, and then the guy's head gets crushed and all this stuff happens in the opening scene. But there's not one word spoken.
Without a syllable.
Without a single. And ADD, dude. I'm full on ADD, and I watched that scene with as much much intensity as I watched the entire movie.
Yeah.
So. You know how fucking hard that is? Like, to have silence for 10 minutes?
So much happens.
So much happens.
He adopts a child within, like,
Yep.
he becomes a father without a syllable being uttered.
Exactly. And it's almost like watching a silent movie. And like how it would be to watch a silent movie, like how well done, everything's spelled out.
Yeah.
And I think that's supposed to be like the point of filmmaking is like, by what you're showing, how much of the story can you tell just by what you show? So, from what I remember in my 2 film classes I took when I was going to school for film, so the whole idea is like, whatever you can get done by showing something, you don't have to put that in the script. That hasn't anything in the script. Yep. So the whole idea is like, if you have a guy selling apples, you put apples 5 cents next to a guy instead of him being like, I'm selling apples.
Apples for sale.
Yeah. But you know what I mean though?
Right.
So the fact that they did a 10-minute opening scene of this movie, and you're like, what is going on? But you're also like, I'm in right away. I'm interested.
100%.
It's something you can feel something's going to happen. The music, which is Johnny, what's his name?
Johnny Greenwood.
Johnny Greenwood.
Applewood.
Greenwood. I think it's Greenwood. And from Radiohead,
and Apple's
makes it ominous, makes it fun to watch. Adds just as much to it.
Paul Thomas Anderson at his finest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, on my list.
It's on your list.
Top. Yes, of course.
Yeah, because it's such an impressive feat. That's why I put it on there.
It's fantastic. It's one of my
something
favorites.
Else that's done that. And even I never saw the other one with Krasinski that he directed. It's Be Quiet. The movie. There's no dialogue the whole movie or something.
Oh, that Krasinski directed that. That's not Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, Krasinski.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying I've never seen that one. But I'm like,
great.
Oh, there. Yeah, I heard it's great.
If you remember our recap of 2018, that was on my top 10.
That's right.
I really enjoyed that movie. Another one. I'll go off the board a little bit. Robert Altman's The Player. What's
the opening scene of The Player?
It's an 8-minute no cut. It's all one shot. It's The Player, if you guys remember, it's Tim Robbins plays a powerful movie agent, gets a death threat, but we don't see that yet. We see it starts on a movie lot, and the camera just paces itself and follows all these different characters that you get introduced to for 8 minutes without a cut. It's beautiful, like old school style making, and it's like a. They even have that one guy walk by and he's going, movies nowadays, it's all MTV and cut. So it's like, it's breaking
they're saying, like, look, we're not doing
it's
that.
It's on the joke of itself.
Yeah.
And it's just a really cool kind of, in that
Player's a good
same
movie.
vein of There Will Be Blood, the long opening shot where it's completely different, but it's no cuts and it's different dialogue, and you have it's just that one of like, you follow 2 characters and then somebody else comes in the frame and then the camera just pans and follows that person and you get a little bit of their what they're all about.
Absolutely.
Really great. Love that opening. Very famous scene.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I forgot about the opening.
Yeah.
I'll do this one because I don't know if you'll agree with this one.
All right, sir.
Because actually no, I'll do this one after the other one. I'll do Pulp Fiction has a great opening scene.
On my list.
Is it on your list? Yeah.
Honorable mention.
Yeah.
It is.
Pulp Fiction has a fantastic.
Got 2 of my 4 honorable mentions.
When it's Honey Bunny and Pumpkin at the diner. It's like quintessential what Tarantino used to be about, was these not monologues, but these really interesting conversations that you're like, what is going on here? They're talking about, hey, you came up with this bright idea of taking their wallets, and so then you're like, let's just rob this place here.
But you're right away, you're trapped.
Right away. It's 0 to 60 right away.
Yeah.
So I always thought, because I remember the feeling I had when I went to go first see that movie, and I was like, what is this? Like right away you're like, I don't even know. Yeah, and then it also kind of sets you up for how the movie is, because you don't revisit that till the end of the movie,
very end, which
is pretty genius. And I
gotta pee,
and it kind of gets you. Yeah, it kind of gets you ready for the movie how it's told, where it's jumping around
fantastic.
like a novel. Yeah,
yeah.
So and also that movie's so fucking good, it's insane. So, and there's just a lot of, and then also. What's funny about the opening of that? Two things. Well, not funny. One is then the Dick Dale song when she comes out. Goes, any of you mother, like that is one of I remember being like 17 or whatever. I was like, that's so cool. It's so cool.
I'll execute every last one.
Oh my god,
it's the best.
And this? The 2 times they have them do that thing. So they have the opening part where they go, all right, everybody, this is a robbery.
Yeah.
Says, any of you pricks move, and I'll execute the last one of you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Later on, she says it different, and somebody asked him, that was a mistake, and he said, no, the second way you hear it is how Jules and them heard it. So... And in life, like, you're not hearing everything exactly how it is. So, like, people make mistakes. You know, eyewitness testimony is not worth anything.
She's great, Amanda Plummer.
She's awesome. But do you know what I mean? It's interesting that is like.
I'm trying to think about it. I'd have to go back and watch it to get it.
She says in the opening, she says, "And I'll execute every last one of you motherfuckers."
Okay, so they.
And at the end, she says, "And I'll execute." Every one of you motherfuckers. Something like
fucking pricks.
Super.
If any of you fucking pricks move, I'll actually. Yeah, I can't remember it off the top of my head.
But it's something super slightly different. It's
okay.
It's not. But it's. I thought that was interesting. That I think in an interview once he said,
"What way to get around a continuity mistake."
Exactly. Yeah. But I think. But I think he like. Yeah, you're right. It could have been that too.
Well, in sticking with the Tarantino franchise. Let's jump one before that. I have Reservoir Dogs on my list.
So do I. I have it on my list, too.
Just because, if not, I think Pulp Fiction...
Once again, both back-to-back diner openings.
Oh, yeah. But just because it's the really first full-on Tarantino film, you get his stylized way of writing immediately. Like, that's a Tarantino movie from word one. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's the Madonna. It's the Like a Virgin. It's the I Don't Tip. It's just brilliant. Also, it's so great, and the ensemble. It's hard not to love.
It's also a hard thing to shoot, and they shoot it around the table the whole time, and they do it like you said with the player shot. Like, it's done pretty smooth the entire time. Like,
it's great.
It's kind of a cool looking thing. I was watching a video about Reservoir Dogs the other day. And one of the things that came up, there's like 26 things you didn't know about Reservoir Dogs, whatever it was. I'll do it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Tarantino was going to play Mr. Pink. And then so when Steve Buscemi came in, he goes, I want to play Mr. Pink. Tarantino said, well, we're going to give you an audition. If you knock it out of the park, then you'll play Mr. Pink. And he fucking did, because he's Buscemi.
He plays one of the guys.
He plays Mr. Brown.
Yeah, Mr. Brown.
But here's the thing. When he gives the non-tipping speech, I don't tip, that's him. That's a conversation that Tarantino had with Lawrence Bender, the producer. He doesn't. I guess at one point in his life he didn't tip, and that's the reason. That's the reasoning that he gave, was that whole speech. Isn't that fucking?
You don't tip. What do you mean you don't tip? You don't believe it? Shut up. That's it. I mean,
it's like having a Costello routine. Yeah. That guy was a maniac too. Because if you listen to the DVD extras, because I used to be obsessed with Reservoir Dogs and Tarantino. And Chris Penn had a whole barbecue. Did you ever hear this story? I think I said on the podcast.
Maybe you might. It sounds.
And he invited all the cast over, and he invites Lawrence Tierney over, and Lawrence Tierney wouldn't leave his house. He just was like hanging out all night.
Yeah.
Everybody left by like 6. Lawrence Tierney was there at like 10 p.m. Him and his wife were like, we gotta get you out of here. Like,
Remy Martin. I'll be hollering with the rest of you. He's so fucking great, man.
So I'll give another one. I'll say this one.
Master of the house. Elaine's dad.
Well, I know.
Lawrence Tierney, Elaine's dad. There it is.
What's his name in Seinfeld?
Don't tell me.
He's an author. I know it. I just remembered it. Do you know it?
Alton.
Oh, yes.
Alton Dennis.
Wow, you're good.
That came to me, and I wasn't confident in it.
That was it. That was definitely it.
Drivel. What parts?
Well, yeah, he goes, maybe some parts. What parts? Anyway, so the next one I have, this might be an unpopular pick, but I will say it's pretty great. It's pretty great action-wise, because if you want to go action, Dark Knight Rises.
I knew you were going to say it.
Dark Knight Rises.
I know.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Spoiler alert, I have Dark Knight as that's one of my top.
Of course.
That's like my top. That and one other one.
Remind me.
Well, they're on the plane. And
that's a great opening.
Bane sets it up. I think it's not given as
Nolan
much due.
does those things so good.
He does them awesome.
Those really hard.
Yeah, think of Inception. The whole movie is one big.
I know.
Is one big action scene basically. After a certain point, it's just them trying to keep up with whatever next reality they're in the whole time.
Yeah.
But Dark Knight Rises, you know, they have that great thing at the end where like they chop the wings off the plane and then straps himself to the guy. And it's just really cool. I think people don't like the movie that much. That's why they don't talk about it.
It was so hard to come from the ashes of Dark Knight.
It's really hard
to follow. But it's a great movie. I love Dark Knight Rises.
I think it's good too. I think they have that cool scene in Dark Knight Rises, not to get off topic too much, but where Batman finally gets, you know, he's back, and then all the cops are like, he frees the cops, and they're all slowly walking up to the the city Capitol building, whatever you want to call it, and then they see Batman fly over, and they go, ah! And they just rush it, and a bunch of them die, but it was like really cool, really cool. But Dark Knight Rises, I think, doesn't get as much. That's why I put this on there. Really cool action scene, and does not get as much due as it should. Like, if it was not that movie, that would have been one of the coolest scenes in a movie.
Yeah.
Because it's also a thing where it's like, there's cool writing in that. I love these little videos they have on YouTube, and they show up on my Facebook sometimes. It's like page to screen things, where they'll show you the script, and they'll scroll it while they're showing the scene.
You know where that's popular? In Canada, in Montreal. That's where I first started, at JFL.
Oh, really?
You get whatever kind of half the channels are in French, and I just found one channel that was doing that, and I watched 4 hours in a row.
Oh, really?
Of the screen to script to screen.
Wait, so they'll do the whole movie?
Yeah, they'll do the whole movie.
Wow.
Or they'll do TV shows. It was great.
I've only seen just famous scenes. Like Few Good Men had one.
I love that. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I love it. It's awesome. Because, dude, they skip a lot of dialogue sometimes because of editing. But then also, A Few Good Men, I think, what's his name? Just not ad-libs, but really just kind of paraphrases a whole chunk. It's pretty interesting.
Sorkin?
No, he didn't write Few Good Men, did he?
Who did? Aaron Sorkin.
Oh, was Aaron Sorkin?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. But if you look at the page to screen thing, you'll see there's some paraphrasing going on between Cruise and Nicholson in the You Can't Handle the Truth scene.
Yeah.
But anyway, but they have a video of that for Dark Knight Rises, and there's a ton of cool dialogue while this whole crazy airplane scene's going on. So I put it on there. I probably should have put it there as an honorable mention, like you said. You have honorable mentions. But
I think so.
It's a good scene.
Well, let me take one Christian Bale movie to another. One of my favorite openings, American Psycho. It's straight Christian Bale as the introduction of Patrick Bateman, and just going, my name is Patrick Bateman. It's just got kind of symphony, orchestral music.
Yeah.
And it's very calming. And
I've seen it a couple times. I just can't remember
his morning routine. He's showering. He's telling you about, I live in the I was in the American Gardens building on West 81st Street. And it's just a very calming, eerie voice. And then it's just a slight nod to the character. He's he's doing his
rowing
aerobics, and then he's like, I could do a crunch now. I can do up to 1,000, and it's just everything that sets up his character. And then toward the end, he goes, the music changes, gets a little more ominous, and it's just I'm not sure. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but he's there is no Patrick Bateman. He's there's an idea of Patrick Bateman, but I simply am not there. And then it just goes into the movie. It's a great chilling opening.
Wow.
And you're oh, really good opening to set up that character. Because it just leaves you with the feeling that something's not right with that guy.
I mean, check the Patrick Bateman guy? He's a little off. A little off, this guy. Steer clear of the Patrick Bateman. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Because that's what I mean, where it sets up, if you're setting up a main character in the movie in the opening scene, it's a great way to do it. Because it freaks you out right away.
And this is going to sound weird, but it's a fun movie. It's a great... It's brutal, but fun movie.
It's brutal, yeah.
It's very tongue-in-cheek and dark humor, but it's hilarious, it's great.
Now, I know this has been debated so much, but I always wondered... I've read...
I still can't figure it out.
The ending? I think the ending of the book is what? That he did it, right?
I don't know the ending. I read it so long ago in high school. I don't remember the actual ending, but the debatable thing is whether it's all in his head or is... I like to think it's the latter. What I'm going to say is that it did all happen. It's just that if you think about the whole movie, the movie as a whole, it was everything bad about the 80s was personified by him. So, like, the bad music. And in the book, he gives, like, way more of those little spiels about, hey, Huey Lewis in the news, sports, while he's, like, donning a raincoat and getting an axe.
Yeah.
He's giving a movie review. But it's also awful music that he loves.
Yeah.
So it's, like, excess, money, greed, just, like, the bad music of the 80s. So he's kind of this homogenization of all those things, and then for somebody to get away with axe murder and like to be a serial killer, but is still so rich and powerful enough where people just go, don't worry about it, it's taken care of. Like, I like to think that that's actually, it's not in his head.
They're just ignoring all the horribleness.
Ignoring, yeah. They just go,
that might
well,
be,
yeah, but you are the vice president of you know?
Oh, because it's such a gaudy, shitty time.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I like to think of that rather than all just in his head. That always seemed like an easy way out where you're just in his head.
Because, no, but they use certain examples. Because also, you just said that opening when you're like, Patrick Bateman's an idea, I'm not there
I know,
yet.
that's why it's always been heavily debated.
It's like, so they think that, isn't there a theory that he's not Patrick Bateman, he's Paul Allen? And, like, because Paul Allen goes missing the whole movie, right? But then he's like, he murders Paul Allen.
Yeah.
So it's like, did he murder, was he just Paul Allen? He murdered Paul Allen to become Patrick Bateman?
I don't know.
It's like, it's interesting. I think that's interesting.
But
it's a really good movie. Really good movie. But if you know,
got to return some videotapes.
Tweet at us what you think the ending of that was.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's a creepy speech for the beginning of that movie.
It's so good.
I put this on here. This should have been an honorable mention as well.
Okie dokie.
Gangs of New York. Kind of a cool little...
Not on my list.
Where they meet up for the fight and it becomes a big battle scene. But it's like... it's just that walk up is pretty cool to me. I don't know. I might have made a mistake putting this down. It's not the best,
all right,
but it's interesting. It's interesting to me.
Could be an HM.
And I not interested.
Very nice ending to that too, with going through the whole different eras of the city, and you land on the Twin Towers, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, absolutely. What was I going to say? But yeah, that wouldn't be honorable mention. I thought it was a cool, with a walk up, and then they kind of spell out stuff as that they kind of spell out the world out while they're walking up to fight. Gives you an introduction like all the main players in the movie. And then I have my two biggies. Would you have something else?
I have a couple more.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. These we talked about these last week, so like Raiders, and we did a whole episode on Raiders and the Last Crusade, so we don't have to get into it too much. But they're classic, great movie openings. We know the Raiders with the idol.
Actually, you can't beat it.
Yeah. But I'd be remiss if we didn't bring those up.
Also, what else is done like that? Like, so first time that was done.
Yeah.
So Raiders, what are the first?
And you just feel like that first taste of that. You go, I love it.
Just blockbuster.
Yeah.
Just absolutely blockbuster.
Halloween is on my list. It's not, as you guys know from our live Halloween episode from last year.
That's an in the house thing too, right? Or
it's the first person. You see that it's just first of all it's the pumpkin with the match inside it and the Halloween, and then it's just your first taste of ding 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 ding. That great score.
So
Scores
good.
don't get enough credit. Well, I guess they get enough credit, but like how much they can punctuate and otherwise.
Oh yeah, we said it.
Middling scene.
There will be blood, and
so you don't know until the very end. The first person is somebody you see through the holes of a mask, and you see him kind of spying on this teenage couple making out, and then it walks upstairs, and you see it. You see this person murder a girl, and then it's not till a shot later that it's revealed it's her little brother. It's a little kid. It's young Michael Myers. And you just go, Jesus, that was unsettling.
That's right. That is fucked up.
I always throw it in there. As you know, you guys remember we did our live Halloween episode last year. We did Halloween versus Psycho. I don't think Halloween after that is that scary of a movie. I don't think it's really as terrifying as people. It's just kind of a long...
The opening is the scariest part.
But then it's kind of just like him walking around and looking at people. It's really not till the end where you get the real meats and the potatoes of it.
Yeah.
But it always has imprint in my memory because my older sister... is 15 years older than me. So she saw that as like a teenager, and we were like that. She was like, you always freaked me out because my mom would literally dress me up in like clown outfits like that for Halloween. So she was like,
he kills with the scissors, right? Yeah. Or not
but
the scissors.
I swear to God, I have pictures of me as a little blonde boy. I looked exactly like Michael Myers, dude. And I had a sister that would have been like that age. She was like, yeah, it was the scariest.
She said what? She
was like, it was, you were this, when Mom brought you out in that clown costume, she goes, I fucking peed myself. She was just like, I always had one eye open, whenever you were cutting things.
It was a school Halloween project.
Yeah.
You're like, give him the safe scissors, Mom. Get the plastic ones.
So that was just kind of, that was a funny one to me, because as soon as I think I was just watching it as we were adults with my sister, she finally told me, and she was like, yeah, it freaked me out.
Oh, that's funny. That's so funny to me. And what's the other one you had? Or that was, you had
I have two more, and then I have my other big. I have like three more, but we kind of already mentioned Dark Knight. So
Dark Knight,
and then
Rises.
I have two other honorable mentions.
Dark Knight we didn't mention.
Well, we kind of nodded to it. I mean,
well, I'll tell you, it's Dark Knight.
I think that might be. Is that your number one?
No. Yes. No. I don't know. It's between two. I'll tell you my top two.
All right. Do you want to save them? Okay, because I don't think you'll have this on there. I have Raising Arizona. You know I love Raising Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
I love the montage and the Carter Burwell music, the banjo and the yodeling.
I love the music.
It's so great. It sets it up. It shows their whole love story of how he's in prison, getting the pictures taken and then going through parole, and how they form this relationship through the prisoner police. It
actually takes care of like 15 minutes of narrative in like 30 seconds. Yeah, you're right.
And then you don't see the title card for like 10 minutes in. Until the music really kicks in.
Yeah.
And but God, great man, go back and watch Raising Arizona again. Sorry, everybody. But I just love that, you show everybody. They go through like they go to the fertility doctor. She's, so much gets done in that opening.
It's super quick. You're right.
And it's just, it's only their second movie. And it's only their second movie after Blood Simple.
Uh-huh.
And that's the first movie you can see what these guys would kind of do.
You can see in Blood Simple, but this one has more character to it.
Yeah.
Blood Simple is a little slower. It's drawn out. It's got Emmett Walsh in it, and he's great.
Yeah. I love how they always use the same.
Yeah,
actors,
so do I. And he's one of those guys that I love when the directors have their go-to guys.
Yeah.
Like, go-to character actors. Emmett Walsh was one of those guys. Emmett Walsh is in the movie called Music of Chance, which James Spader and somebody else pretty big. And it's a great movie. It's the guy who loses a card game, and he's like, he has to be an indentured servant. But Emmett Walsh is like the crooked cop in the town, I think, or something like that. I haven't seen it in a while. But that's like Paul Thomas Anderson using Ricky Jay as much as he could.
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody else used Ricky Jay.
Most of my
except for David Mamet, actually. David Mamet does, too.
Well, this leads perfectly into my next one, because another filmmaker who does this kind of same thing is Wes Anderson, and I love the opening of Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh, you're right. It's because it's a storybook opening.
It's like a storybook opening, but you've got the explanations of Alec Baldwin narrating. You've got that version of Hey Jude playing in the background. It's like a harpsichord kind of opening.
Yeah.
And you learn about 111 Archer Street. You learn about the Tenenbaum, the family of geniuses, and you see them as children. And then it takes care of all that build-up that you don't need, that you now see the present-day Tenenbaum families in disarray.
Yeah.
And it's just great. It's just such a fun, great opening.
Yeah. It also gives you, that's what's so great about all the ones we're mentioning. They really do give you a sneak peek into what the movie is going to be like. I know it's such a stupid thing to say, but it's true, though. Like it gives you, if you want to see Wes Anderson universe, watch that opening scene. That's all you need to see. Like, if somebody was like, hey, what are Wes Anderson movies like? Watch the opening scene of Royal Tenenbaums, and that's Wes Anderson.
It's something Once Upon a Time in Hollywood could have maybe used as a device for a lot of that Rick Dalton Cliff stuff.
I think you're right. To give an idea that this is what we're going for.
Yeah.
This is what I don't think they did that.
No.
I have a thing now. I should say this. I'm going to go back and watch it again.
I am too.
Yeah. I'm going to go back and watch it again and see.
Of course. Those movies always have to.
I've been watching so many things about it and reading so many articles trying to get a grip on what I think of this fucking movie.
Hey, and can I tell you by that? I'm still not sold on that being a memory or a fantasy.
It's a fantasy. That's what everybody's saying.
Oh, really? I think I was the first person to say that, because other people
I thought it was a memory.
Text me going, dude, that was a memory. Mike Harrington shouted. He goes, that's a memory. And I went, yeah, I think it's a memory. I'm back on my original thing now. I go, no, I think he thought of
Well, they say
We're gonna
it's a
have to go over it
memory
again, but-
because after it happens, they shoot back to him. They go back to him, and he goes, probably.
Right.
Meaning that's what had probably happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see there was a whole controversy from that scene with Bruce Lee.
I
People
know.
are getting mad that you're disrespecting Bruce Lee.
But that's why no, it's first
And
of all,
people go, he didn't lose. It was 1-1. But people think of him as like, oh, you're beating Bruce Lee's ass. That wouldn't have happened. You're making him seem like a pompous ass. And it's like, no, it's it's also his fantasy.
it's also fictional.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So when it comes to Road Tenenbaums, you're absolutely right. That's a great opening scene.
brutally funny, and you and me do all the little royal lines to ourselves.
Oh, they're so good.
But I'm gonna live.
But I'm gonna live. He goes, Dad, you weren't sick, but I'm gonna live.
What a beautifully written line.
One of the best things ever is when Gene Hackman. We should do a whole episode of Gene Hackman.
Just crushes.
We'll have Saint Germain on. Saint Germain loves Gene Hackman. When he sees Owen Wilson climbing out the window, he goes, "What's going on here?" And he looks at it and he goes, "Hey, I know you, asshole." And then Owen Wilson just reaches back. Like, he doesn't even wave. He just reaches his hand. He's all high and shit. It's great. Hey, I know you, asshole.
Such a great movie. Really hard to pick out of those first three. My favorite one out of Bottle Rocket, Rushmore.
Well, Bottle Rocket, you can say, Bottle Rocket was based on, he did like a 20-minute black and white version of Bottle Rocket, and that's what got him I think James Caan involved to do the Bottle Rocket I love it. I love
it too.
It's so great.
It plants the seeds.
It's the best when he goes they're at Bob's house and James Caan's they always going to rob Bob's house. He goes, he goes, hello Bob, you got a beautiful house. It's like a precursor to like, we're gonna rob your house.
Yeah. They'll never catch me because I'm fucking innocent. Like, no, you're not. But he's so delusional.
Yeah, that's a great scene too.
And maybe one of the greatest character names of all time, Dignan. It's just a beautiful name.
It's great. And then Rushmore is great. Tenenbaums might be shaping up to be my favorite.
And me too.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff in it.
So that is it for my wife.
When he goes back and forth with Danny Glover, and he goes, right, he goes, sit on it, right on. He's talking like,
I know,
he goes, you want to talk jive?
I'll talk jive. We mentioned Goodfellas. We mentioned Pulp Fiction. The honorable mention, I love the movie so much. Boogie Nights has kind of a fun opening when you kind of, again, what we were talking about, you kind
it's
of
a party opening,
you kind
right?
of meet the characters without meeting their personalities.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of that dance sequence. Yeah, it's at Luis Guzman's club.
Yes.
And that's why I said it's honorable mention. Nothing
hard to shoot. Nothing to shoot. They're kind of Scorsese-like, kind of Coppola Command-ish a little bit.
Yep, very much. And
Probably
then
not as hard as that, but
right. And I threw Godfather on there just because I love that classic
with
coming
the guy,
down in the elevator. I love
that's a great shot. Yeah.
And just the conversation about America.
Were you the one I was talking to with The Sopranos recreated that when Tony's mom dies?
Uh-huh.
I think the elevator and everything, right? And then he goes,
he even uses the line. He goes, "I'll use all my power and skills." And Tony goes, "All right, relax." He's such a dick. So really, all right, take it easy. I just rewatched season 3. That's what it is.
He does not
it's
care.
so funny.
He's a sociopath.
I'm going to kill myself. I really got to take this. Sociopath.
Do you want
That's
to
the perfect word.
explain that scene so people know what you're talking about? I'm going to kill myself.
That's when he...
the girl
it's
burned
Ralph
herself.
Cifaretto's original girlfriend. It's Ralphie, and then she's like the art dealer. And Tony starts fucking her. And he has to cut it off. He has to, end it. And then...
Tony's phone starts ringing. She's freaking out in the hospital.
She's freaking out. Well, she ends up, they're getting a fight at her apartment. Her hair catches on fire. Her face gets all burnt. And then she's in the hospital, and Tony goes, now I'm going to take care of all the bills. You're going to worry about that. And she doesn't care about that. She just wants, his attention.
She wants to be with him, yeah.
And he's like, this has to end. And
she's like, I'll kill myself.
His phone rings right when she's saying, if this ends, I'm going to kill myself. He goes, I really got to take this. He just gets on the lead.
And he points to the phone.
Dude, I was watching that one night. I videotaped it on my phone and sent it to Shawnee because I was watching one night. It's so funny, man. That's really the thing. The first time you go through The Sopranos, you go, that was fucking insane. What a journey. The second and third times you watch it, by the third time you're going, this is the funniest show in the world.
It's amazing. It's amazing how funny. I told you I might have said this on the podcast. If I did, we can cut it out or whatever. The scene where they're at John, or whatever his name's, the New York boss's wedding.
Johnny Sack.
Johnny Sack's daughter's wedding, right? And Johnny Sack wants Tony Soprano to kill Rusty. They call him the little guy because he's like the short guy.
Right.
It's Frankie Valli, I think. That's who I think the guy is. And that's who plays him. And that's Frankie Valli, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he wants him to kill him, and he goes, "I'm not doing it." And then he goes back over to Chris Montesanti and Paulie Walnuts, and he goes, "John wants me to whack the little guy." And then he goes, "Isn't there a thing where it's he can't refuse a request
around a table?"
No, he can't. You can't. Yeah, he can't. You can't refuse a request of his on his daughter's wedding day. And he goes, "No, it's reversed. He can't refuse my request." He goes, "You should ask not to do this."
That's so great. Paulie and Chris have some of the best chemistry and some of the funniest lines.
Oh, it's so good.
We all know Pine Barrens is such a great one. What was his interior decorator? His house looked like shit. My other favorite Paulie Walnuts line, I've told this to you a million times, is the Chris intervention. When it was right after Pyomine died, so he was like already all worked up about pets.
Well, he always had a thing about animals, the ducks, the dog, everything.
And Chris, in his a heroin stupor, sits on Cosette, the little dog.
Yes,
you killed that little dog, and Paulie doesn't know why. Because Adriana's reading her letter, she goes, "And when you killed Cosette because you were on drugs," Tony goes, "You killed that little dog," and Paulie goes, "What was it, barking?" Like, that would be a reason to kill the dog.
But yeah,
what was it, barking?
To them, it is like perfect character. What he would say.
What was it, barking?
Was it barking? All right, let's get to our biggies here.
My last two biggies: Inglourious Bastards.
There we go. Inglourious Bastards. That's one of my top two.
Yeah, I knew our top two would be the same.
Yeah. Well, no. My other top two is you have Inglourious Bastards and Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Oh, you do. Okay. They're two of the best. Everything else kind of pales in comparison to these two opening scenes. I think it's two of the best. It's like first off,
fantastic.
Dark Knight is almost like a movie in itself. I almost want to see the rest of that movie. I almost want to see that bank robbery, almost like a Dog Day Afternoon, but with those guys.
Oh,
that would have been so cool.
Which one do you want to do first?
What? Which
one do you want to...
we can do... Let's do... What do you want to do? Well, let's do Dark Knight. Because
okay.
Inglourious Bastards might edge it out for me a little bit. Okay? Because I think it's more dramatic. I think whatever. But Dark Knight, this is where it comes to the line that I wanted to say earlier. William Fichtner, who's like an established actor, this is how much people want to be involved in Christopher Nolan movies. He just plays the bank manager of the mob bank.
Yeah.
And then at one point during the robbery, he shoots out the glass with a sawed-off shotgun and tries to go after them. And then he says one of the best things ever. He goes, well, just the way he says it, it's so badass. He goes, do you know where you're robbing from? You and your friends are dead. It's so great. Just the picture how he says it.
He is good.
You and your friends are dead. Anyway, that scene is so cool to me.
It's great.
Just the way
I never saw anything like that before.
Me neither.
And for like a bank heist.
Well, it's also a bank heist. Like, you want to do all right, the rest of the movie is so fantastic also. People try to shit on it now, like 10 years later.
Oh, please. It's fucking brilliant. It's great.
Exactly. But one of the things is this about that opening scene is that bank heist movies are usually like, hey, these bank heist guys are in it. They're part of a team,
right?
And then this opening is like, wow, the Joker. You don't realize he's with them the whole time. At first, you don't even know what's going on yet. You have no idea what's going on.
They kind of lay the scene. They go, don't know. Just heard about the job. Is this report here, do whatever.
And then he goes, what did they hear about the guy who planned it? The Joker? And then they start talking about him. But I think when you first see the movie, I don't think I thought that he was with them on the robbery.
No,
not at all.
Not at all.
You don't think at all.
They allude to the fact that he organized it, but he's not there.
But it's basically
your boss just told me to meet here. What else did he say? And that's when he goes, also told me to kill you when your job was done.
Well, yeah.
And then they jump into it. Which is such a... I had never thought... of that, or I never would have thought of that. I never would have seen that coming a mile away. And the first time you see it, you go, "That's fucking awesome."
That's awesome. It's so ruthless. You never saw it in a movie before. It can help you create the perfect crime.
Yeah.
So if you get it down to where there's nobody left but you're like, yeah, I'll see you. But like everything timed out so. No, it's a movie, but I mean, everything timed out so perfectly.
Yeah, I mean,
up until the last thing when he goes, no, I kill the bus driver,
right.
And then the bus driver comes in, and then he. And then he pulls out right into the mix of all the school buses coming home from school. It was like perfect.
And not to mention the string holding all the pin that tied to the grenades.
So that's supposed to be though he has the grenade in William Fichtner's mouth. That's poisonous gas, I'm guessing, right? Like he kills him or he knocks him out.
I always thought they were grenades. I don't know.
No, because when the string pulls it, smoke comes out. So I don't know if it's a gag.
Smoke bombs.
Maybe it's a gag.
Huh. Either way, yeah, and then it just jumps right into the line with the other school buses.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Yeah.
And it gives you a great introduction to the character. It's like I said, it's like a TV show in itself because it's such a cool,
fantastic pacing. Everything is beautiful.
Perfect. They have the even the opening shot is so amazing. It's the Joker.
Great sweeping.
It's the Joker holding, even though he has paint on his face, holding the mask backwards in his hand. They don't show you his head. They just show you from like the neck down, and then like from behind, and then the sound is perfect. It's like everything pulls. The shots are perfect in the thing.
Yeah,
and like that's what I mean. There's so many sequences in that movie that are so cool. One of the ones somebody ripped apart was the taking Aaron Eckhart to jail, taking
Harvey
Dent to jail. That scene, they said editing wise, it's all over the place. It's no good.
Well, I didn't notice.
I didn't notice either. I thought it looked really cool. Especially when they flipped the 18-wheeler.
I love that scene when it's just him with his head out of the window and it's mute.
It's really cool.
Beautiful. He just does these tricks. You go, God damn it.
Even the whole idea where he's in the truck, the 18-wheeler, with that weird cowboy guy, and he's like, I guess I gotta do everything myself. And he like, excuse me, and he like pushes the dead body over. And you're like, even that guy, you're like, was he in it with them, or he just like...
I think so.
I think he was. That's why, like, where did he find this weird cowboy guy? Like, I don't know. I always think of that when I watch it. I'm like, oh, so he was part of the crew, and then he just died in the crash or whatever happened, you know?
Don't you just laughter and slaughter.
Yeah.
Don't you, like, get jealous when stuff aligns up like that? That's so good. It's like, sometimes when as a joke writer, you go, oh, that was right there, and you just go, that's just such a nice stroke of...
Oh, just
brilliance and
personal
luck
touch
coming together.
But that whole chase scene's great. But the opening scene, like, if you don't watch that opening scene and you're not psyched to watch the rest of that movie, you have no feelings about movies. Like that opening scene that sets everything so perfectly. Because you're like, oh, because you don't know what it is. Because to be honest, it's basically a cold open. Actually, it's not a cold open because they steal the money and that's how he talks to the other mob bosses.
Right.
Whatever. But it's not a cold open. But it's kind of a non sequitur. It's kind of a thing where they don't revisit the robbery later on. Whatever it is.
Now we're talking about it, so I'm like, does this one edge out? Inglourious Bastards for me?
No, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And the other one is Inglourious Bastards, like we said.
The very opening scene.
And to me,
in the French countryside,
I think it's the most the most Tarantino thing without being the most Tarantino thing I've ever seen in my life. Where
can we say both of these guys introduces us really to Christoph Waltz, who won Best Supporting Actor, as well as Heath Ledger, also won Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, good point.
Both these roles,
absolutely,
as Hans Landa.
And if you want to talk about the most tension built in an opening scene I've ever seen.
You just know these poor people are doomed.
And you don't know the reveal that the Jewish family is underneath the house is when you see that you're like, oh, like you get so uncomfortable watching it. You get sad. You get uncomfortable. It's like once again, it's like a movie in itself.
He is fucking brilliant, and Christoph Waltz is so good. The way he is that character, you just go, I fucking hate this guy.
Yeah.
But goddamn, do I respect that acting role that he's playing.
It's so much fun to watch.
He is such an asshole.
And you know who I love? The guy he's talking to, the father of the family that's harboring the Jewish family. That guy, I guess he's some French actor. I don't know who he is. He's amazing, too.
He's great. Yeah.
He's so deadpan the entire time. And then he doesn't even speak that much. But then when it's all revealed that they're here, right, and to tell me where they are, and he just starts crying, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfectly acted, perfectly executed opening scene with the most tension I've ever seen in an opening scene. Like once again, that could be its own movie. That could have been its own. Like that could have been a culmination scene in a totally different movie.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? And then the whole thing starts and it becomes about the Inglourious Bastards, but it introduces you to the villain perfectly.
Yep.
And you don't know.
Would you say it's his movie?
Waltz?
Yeah, Christoph Waltz's movie.
Yeah, I think he's the standout. I think he's
definitely the standout. It's a bad.
Yeah, I think it's more about his travels. Right. It's not about them. They're kind of peripheral.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, Brad Pitt is obviously the leader, but if you think about the movie as a whole,
you're not following them around.
There's only really like one big scene with the bastards, and that's when you introduce them of who they are, and they carve, the swastika.
Yeah,
that's the only time you really see them all together. Other than that, you have the basement scene with the actress. You just have them in pieces.
Yep. It's not like a cohesive group war movie where we're taking over these camps,
right.
We're taking over these Nazis.
And I don't know if I'm right about this, but Christoph Waltz might have the most screen time because he's got the opening, he's got the scene with Shoshana with Frederick Zoller when they meet Goebbels.
They eat the cake.
Yeah, oh god, when they eat the strudel. I mean, he's so goddamn good.
When that scene's going on,
every scene you're like, this fucking
yeah. Every scene, that scene
filled.
The strudel scene. Does he know who she is?
I
don't think so.
Don't think so yet. But it's such a.
But I watched it again, and I'm like,
it's only 4 years later with the Au revoir, Shoshana.
Yeah, it's such a creepy fucking thing.
It's great.
And she's running, she's covered in blood.
But then the thing is because he makes. Does he though? Because he makes the deal at the end. So it's like I don't know. It's very gray. Good debate. Good debatable.
It's debatable. I don't think he.
I'm leaning that way too.
I don't think he does. But I think it's like. You wonder why though, because he's so astute and he's so observant.
Yeah,
why wouldn't he?
I know.
Like, I think so. It's one of those things where it's like,
well, I mean, he never. Yeah, he only got to look at her from. Oh no, I guess not. I guess he did see them all, the daughters, in the house. So it wasn't that he just saw her from afar running away.
No, he didn't see her in the house.
No, he said the three lovely daughters are in the house.
He's talking about the French guy's daughters, not the
yeah, that's who she is.
No, she was from the part of the Jewish family that was on
you're
it.
right. You're totally right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no, she wasn't part of the...
Of course.
That was like these three other girls.
So, yeah, she didn't see her face up close.
He didn't see her face. That's what
okay.
it is. So he didn't...
I got confused for a second.
But as far as...
I tend to do.
Also, the shot of through the door... The through the door shot where it's dark on the one side, light on the other is such a cool looking... It almost reminds me of like there was an old, I think it's like I forget, there's some novel, and the cover of the novel has that. It's like this like countryside with a girl, and the whole thing reminds me of that. I'll find out what it is, but they have a couple different shots of when they're all coming in. They shoot it on the other side of the door is light, and then right behind it is the dark of the inside of the cabin.
Yeah,
and it's such a cool looking shot because it frames her running at the end, and then him walking up and going, "Oh, Shoshana!" But yeah, he's terrifying. He's evil. He's terrifying. You already hate him because he's a Nazi.
Yep.
So on top of that, knowing that this guy, at first you're like, oh, he's good. This guy's good. This guy's a rock. That guy who played the dad, the French dad, this guy's a rock. This guy's not giving up shit.
Yep.
He's so cool. Can I smoke my pipe? Yeah, have some more milk. I'll have milk. Like, he's a rock. And then sure enough, he's like, yeah, we're not gonna stop. Like, we're gonna be around here until you tell us that you.
Yeah.
And he was like, and then he's like afraid for his family probably, and such a cool fucking scene.
It's great.
And then that's it. That's all. It's like one of the best scenes in the movie, and it's in the first
He's got good openers, man.
Movies. He's got good openers. They say even somebody. I have to look at this. There's a video about Jackie Brown that apparently her whole thing is spelt out in the opening. I think it's about her smuggling the drugs.
I admittedly don't know Jackie Brown well enough.
Jackie Brown's a fun movie. It's fun to watch. It's long, but it's a cool movie.
Yeah.
It's great when De Niro shoots Bridget Fonda in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Lewis.
Oh, I had such a crush on her in that movie.
Where's the car, Lewis? He's like, really, stop.
Well, speaking of long,
I know we
went way overboard.
Yes.
Sorry, everybody. Hopefully you stuck with us because it was just such a fun topic. And please, this is obviously so arbitrary and subjective. Write us in and tell us your favorite movie openings. Defend your opening. We'd love to hear them. We'll address them on a future show. You can reach us at Defend Your Movie on Twitter. And as always, thank you for listening. Please rate, subscribe, and tell a friend for the love of Jeff, will you? That's the word.
For the love of Jeff. Tell everybody about it. Tell your friends to listen.
Yes.
Write to us on Twitter, like Andy said. Let us know what you think about the opening scenes that we picked.
Matchups you want to hear.
My number one is Inglourious Bastards. I don't know any other movie that has a scene like that. There's probably some obscure one that Tarantino based it on.
I'm sure we left off a ton where we'd kick ourselves for going.
Sure. What would you defend? What's your favorite opening scene? Let us know. Andy, Twitter. What do you?
You can follow me at Andy Fiori. That is ANDYFIORI. You just plug my name in all the socials at that handle, and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter will pop up. And that is my website as well, andyfiori.com, and you can see all my tour dates on there. And if you are in the West Coast vicinity of Las Vegas, come and see me and Shawnee time.
Yeah, starting Monday night, 2 shows a night. August 19th. We'll be there for a week. It's in the Rio. If you're in the area, come by, say hello. Yep. We'll buy you a drink. We'll hang out. If you're let us know you're a Defender. You got the meats and the potatoes. And it's going to be blessed, so definitely come by.
Anything else?
I'm at Shawnee Time on Twitter, at Shawnee Time on Instagram. I'm going to Vegas with Andy, and then when I come back, I go to Chicago, but I'll mention that next week. And yeah, just like Andy said, subscribe, tell your friends. Let's get the word out about the podcast.
Thanks so much, everybody. Defenders, until next time, adios.
Adios.